Hello, Steve here. Welcome to Kinitrology, the new study of incentives. What? Kinitro, Greek for incentives, and the ology part, the study of. Incentive studies, doesn't go down well today. You've clicked on woke. Here's my attempt to explain what this whole woke caper is all about. On the fly, a diatribe, a riff, the attempt to see why we are incentivized to be repulsed by or to support wokeism. Ism. See how we can massage ideas in our linguistic corpus. Anyway, so that's Kinitrology. In my humble opinion, a nascent approach to understanding human behavior, maybe affectionately to be known as the science of honesty, the cutting through the BS idea of human survival in the world, status seeking, mate selection, evolution. As I'm saying that, this episode on wokeism, upcoming possible episode titles, evolutionary biology, evolutionary psychology. Anyway, so today, here's my attempt, my thoughts, my unpacking and repacking, my therapy session perhaps. Maybe even the listener and the viewers' therapy session. So, without any further ado, whatever that bloody means, I just hear it said often. So, woke, haven't really thought about when it came into usage, utilization. It's obviously a left side of the aisle of politics. Team Blue, Democrat, Marxist, Communist side of the fence. And then on the other side, you have the Conservatives, the Team Red, Republican, alt-right, far-right, KKK, all that sort of thing. Many will assume that I fit on the right side, that red side. I did a political compass test where it's got authoritarianism, anarchism. On the X, on the Y, there's left and right side of politics. So liberal versus conservative, right? Or progressive. I don't know. But the political compass, I scored, there's 10 squares on each quadrant. I was 2 squares, or let's say 20% to the right and 10% authoritarian. I didn't expect that. Was it the mood that I was in? I don't know, but that gives you an indication where I am. So let's just say I am center rightish. I fit into the demographic, an old bastard that's 50 years old and white, and I go to church. Oh goodness. Right, so let's get cutting through the BS, the science of honesty. And my intentions of, am I going to poo-poo wokeism? No, it's not really intended. There are some deficits in what the left, progressives, and the liberals postulate. And there are some deficits in thought, ideas, and trying to diagnose the issue from the right. both sides of that aisle have issues. So here we go. And what spurred on today is my discussion yesterday with my best mate. Hey, best mate. So we had, I was going to reference, we were on the phone for an hour, and just before I went record, I checked it was an hour 20, and one reference indicator, we're talking around in circles. No, I said, no, we're not. It's, you got to talk around in circles to make the circle smaller, and then you have a pinpoint. We didn't get to a pinpoint, right? Yeah. So, oh yes, and apologies for the prior couple of episodes where there's mic feedback. No more mic here, no more fancy external mic there. What the factory provides, here we go. So, woke, came in, sort of usage, just before COVID came, I think. Before that, the go-to narrative, shared concept, political stance was social justice warrior. Was that pinned by the left, or was it pinned? Was it derogatory from the right? Not quite sure, but just a brief uncovering of my lack, perhaps, of how it originated. So I think woke just indicates it's a term to suggest ultra progressive. We need to cut down the institutions and the like. So that's where woke sort of comes into this frame. And I reference in nearly every episode. I think it's episode something like 33 at the moment, and where our linguistic ability, our communication is probably lagging behind our freedom of thought, the way we express ourselves. And woke is used as a status weapon, communication weapon, position of a group or institution type weapon. And I'm not going to be, once again, I'm not going to totally poo-poo woke. Don't worry, I will be poo-pooing the right, okay? Let's not mince. Let's be totally honest in bringing up my own, perhaps, proclivities to why I am seeking. Am I seeking status? I don't know. There's also this age curse that comes in when you reach the sort of vintage that I'm at. There's a more fine-tuned meaning search. We've heard of the whole term of meaning crisis and the like. So, right, you see, now with all my preemptive thoughts and all that sort of thing, the suitcase, I've just emptied it on the bed. Let's get the towels, the jeans, the shirts and the undies back in that suitcase. Maybe I've got to sit on it, zip it up, right? So to continue, woke, let's just say around half a decade, and it's been increasing in usage for at least the last, say, 3 years. Right. Why have we got to this point of this is more the right side of the aisle talking, where all this LGBT, all this critical race theory, feminism, fourth wave, are we in fifth wave? Don't know. But maybe by not knowing exactly where we are and being epistemically honest in suggesting that you are only intermediate in your understanding, provides some value in giving an insight in what this individual thinks, why we are here. the right side of the aisle will suggest conspiracy type ideas which the right blames the left blames the right over. Does that even make sense? Am I pointing left? I can't think. It's a mirror. I'm pointing left. I hope it is. So, power seeking. Yes, that comes into people's formulation. We have a tendency as humans to simplify things. Maybe religion is part of a way to simplify stability, ensure inclusion, as in to ostracize people that are unstable, which the conservatives will think the left is, right? So the conservative religionists will suggest that these people are gone off the rails, and the people that are supposedly off the rails are thinking these are squares stuck in the muds, stuck in times of old. We live in the 21st century, man, type idea. Right. I've got a few shirts in the suitcase. No, I don't think I have, actually. I'm just holding onto a shirt. Now I have to fold it to put it into the suitcase. Right, so let's go back. To where? Well, many will suggest that Karl Marx, 1848 rings a bell. Anyway, that's when the thing was published. Was it 40 pages or 80 pages? The Communist Manifesto, which is probably given some airtime for whatever airtime is back then, which is publication space. Endorsement by Engels, perhaps. And Marx, he pretty much lived off Engels. He was talented. Some of his poetry is like, other writings have been interesting. I just recall from years back, but I won't hijack this with that. We have to get to the putting the jeans in the basket, in the baggage. Suitcase. So that's where progressivism perhaps started academically. We were entering a time of leisure, and with leisure comes more thinking. And then, when there's no restriction, no fight for survival, we start thinking silly things. And this is maybe the right talking here, yeah? But also the right keeps those ultra-conservative people in power, in stabilizing society. And maybe at points in history, let's just face it, most of our history, the idea of a conservative outlook of life was designed to weed out psychopaths and the like, ranging from 1 to 3% of the population. When it got to 3% of the population, it got a bit, they started to off more of the psychopaths. It's still probably 1 or 2% of the population with psychopaths, or let's just say 3% of the population, where, referencing Jordan Peterson here with the, popular reference with the dark tetrad. There used to be the dark triad with the personality traits of psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and what was the third one? But I know the fourth one is sadomasochistic type traits. What's the third one? Apologies. So to weed out the problems in those smaller villages, communities, let's just say, hey, Dunbar's number, Many people know about the Dunbar's number, 150 people that we can categorize in our minds the status of those 150 people, where we fit into those 150 people. Okay, bit of anthropology there perhaps. Then we have more leisure, more thinking, more since Gutenberg. Right, let's publish some more stuff other than Bibles. 17th century really kicks in. There's an indication the Industrial Revolution probably started, ideas-wise, a century before the 18th century. So there's a bit of a background in getting to leisure. And just a quick note with Industrial Revolution, really it was an agricultural revolution which freed up a lot of labor to then fuel some new tech, pressure systems and hydraulics and later combustion and the like in the factories. So farmers became ultra productive. The productive farmers were able to produce 10 and 15 times more, like I'm talking 1,500% more output than a farmer that isn't so talented in farming. So there was a point where farmers were given the ability to buy out other farms because they're making money. They bought out they were able to, the lords allowed them to acquire whatever means they acquired the extra land, and there was an abundance of food. Anyway, so they all went into the cities, started working in the factories and all that sort of thing, feeding into Karl Marx, those capitalist pigs type thing. So that's just a quick summation. The mic was pointing that way. Sorry for the change, perhaps maybe in the volume for the podcast people. So supposedly, it's all starting by Karl Marx. Then we have different internationalists came as a idea, a movement. I know Hitler always referenced internationalists, and these days, who says globalist the most? Alex Jones, I think. Globalist, globalism. So that's rooted in Marxism, communism, therefore communism, socialism. Right. Then we have the whole fascist thing. When people scream out fascist, it's all authoritarianism, you see. And that can also be thought of as on the right side of the political aisle because it's authoritarian. But academically, we like to suggest that fascism is right, communism left, woke is left, conservative right, Hitler, right. That's where that fits in. Now I'm starting to get a few garments in the suitcase. Right. Globalism, and with globalism there are economic utility advancements, food supply chain advancements, driving down the cost of food even more to the point of 10 or 15% of our annual income going on food, freeing up money to buy a TV license, a TV, books, and we get exposed to different ideas. That's another piece. And what drives us? What drives us into the civil rights movement of the 60s, referencing the US climate of the time? They. And who's they? The right side of politics have this they thing happening. They're trying to gain control, the globalists and this and that. The Jews get a Guernsey in this matter. They control the banking system. I've entertained anti-Semite ideas, as in help me understand more. And I invite woke ideas, maybe as a guest appearance from some academic or anyone that supports wokeism. I invite an interview. Let's talk. So who's they? Some of the theyers are saying Jews, and I consumed anti-Semite material to understand what's going on. And well, firstly, I don't think that any in-group is capable of organising the entire human population, particularly in the West, and knowing what they're doing. I doubt it, even if it is an issue, even if it is possible. And also, the Rothschilds and the Jews, this entertainment industry and banking. Well, I don't know, one metric. Well, look up how many banks are where the Jews are CEOs, perhaps. Not many. Quite a few Irish, English, a few Europeans in there. Just I don't know, do a search. So I'm not anti-Semitizing. I've even entertained content of the flat earth people. And they also suggest they, and I always ask they. And then you get anti-religion. They want to destroy religions and destroy our stabilities and that sort of thing, in keeping society conservative or moral. They want to break our morals and all that sort of thing. And let's face it, the word moral is used as a synonym for being conservative. Yes, particularly in religious circles, in my humble opinion. So, okay, we've come into the 60s. Blacks in America, the social movement of the time, that allowed into white privileged areas, education and the like. We've all seen some of the old photographs of a sole black man sitting outside of the classroom where all the white fellas are in the classroom. Yes, looks quite disturbing. Well, yeah, it was. So the right side of politics gets a ba-bow because the Conservatives supposedly drove that. But then you get quite profound ideas like Dinesh D'Souza comes to mind, where he's identified that it was only Democrats that owned slaves back in the day. Yeah, and they come up with the Democrats said this guy, this Republican owned a slave, and then Dinesh D'Souza apparently discovered that he was a Democrat before he became Republican. I forget the name of the particular example that the left makes. So, who's they? That was a quick example to not go too far on this, and I've said the Jew thing, the anti-Semite thing. I'm not anti-Semite. I've only consumed content to see what's going on. And the anti-Semites, far right, whatever you want to call that content, is also a bit crackers, right? Just like the ultra left, which the right thinks they're a bit crackers. And so here's one reason why I think that we're becoming from the right side of the aisle, suggesting that society is being destroyed. We have these personality proclivities, these ways to navigate, to belong in our society, and accommodating our own wicked thoughts. There was this book, A Billion Wicked Thoughts. Jordan Peterson, I brought up Jordan Peterson again. He brings up this particular example where Google engineers, was it 2012, crunched the data, and most of the data come out as pornography, right? And where the fellas very visual, and the ladies were very controlling the powerful man, the billionaire, the doctor, pirate, beastly thing. What's the fifth archetype? Anyway, powerful males controlling them, you know. Then you get the whole hypergamy thing where the brosphere, manosphere, women are hypergamous. How about the fellas being hypergamous in boobs and ass? Let's not mince words. The conservative men, women are hypergamous. They marry to the side and up, and they think they're 9s and 10s when they're only 6s and 7s. All that sort of content. Let's face it, the Tates on this side get some ass, have all these chicks on your yacht when you become rich. Oh, bloody hell. And they're hypergamous in pretty ladies, right? Anyway, that's just a challenge on that front. So let's get some socks into the suitcase, shall we? How am I going to do this? Have I got myself into a bind? Am I talking myself into circles? Mate. So, I think there's a they. Parasitic mind virus is a concept coined or popularized, or was it initiated by Gard Sad, a evolutionary psychologist, and that fits better in trying to articulate what's going on with particularly critical race and transgender ideas equals woke. And because it's allowed. Remember when I said the wicked thoughts? The ability to escape the ultra-conservativeness of your community or family structure. You have now idiots like me that you can go to on the internet, and they're suggesting that trans rights, this and that. It's allowed, and those people with those wicked thoughts may be people with autogynephilia and autoandrophilia. Let's not forget the other side. Change sex in their 40s and 50s and 60s even. And then we get to the point of barely teenagers, with some brakes being put on with transgender clinics being closed in the UK, and is it also Denmark, or is it Holland? One of those countries, right? So there are some brakes being put on. It's not as if woke will go woke, and then we blow up. There's checks and balances. Yes, we are in a fairly ultra woke sort of situation. The conservatives don't accept. They do kick and scream because they have their own proclivities which are conservative after all. Many live in conservative clothing while supporting things on the left like abortion. This is the thing, like conservative women, many, is it most? A great proportion of women on the right support abortion. Freedom to make decisions for the individual. Sometimes mistakes are made, sometimes the intentions of a man are made clear and the conservative woman has made a mistake. That's where, I guess, the whole bygone era of chaperoning has gone, and we're not allowed to espouse the nature of men and women to our younger crowd, our kids. The nature, what men are after, what women are after, and what women should seek. I think it is communicated with the conservative crowd a little bit more, but with the woker parents, going too free could also build up a situation where you're wandering around in the desert. A biblical reference, Exodus. Yeah. Oh, gee, that's another Jordan Peterson thing. Jordan Peterson on the brain. Maybe deservedly so, because he references quite a bit of popular content in this realm, and he's of course conservative, but not ultra conservative. He's not like, I guess, the Dennis Prager's of the world, Ben Shapiro's. He's more towards the, if you're talking academic types, more towards the Sam Harris, even though he disagrees with Harris, and they talk past each other, not even over the top of each other, past each other. They can't even settle on terms of reference. I'm getting far beyond what I should go, and I need to get the socks and the last shirt into the suitcase. How am I going to zip this up? Let's attempt here. Let's attempt. The moral of what I'm trying to say: there's no they. The they aren't talented enough, powerful enough to drive what's, hey, Kinitrology, right? Incentives. What's incentivizing these powerful people? Well, power, money. It's not possible. I don't think it's possible. Why don't I think it's possible? Because we can't be grandiose enough to understand that that we do understand what drives people. What gain can you get by destroying society to get more power? Do they even have power? Does Elon Musk have power as the richest guy in the world? Apparently, there was someone else that passed him, some French Louis Vuitton guy, owner of Louis Vuitton and many other brands, apparently. And the reason why we've gone supposedly woke, and let's face it, being ultra conservative pre-1960s had its issues. Yes, there was abuse of women and kids and minority groups, but those minority groups, they're using the same tactics to gain resource, get ahead, get status, get places at universities. Let's talk about the universities just quick to sum it up, to get those last socks into the suitcase and then zip it up. Postmodernist theory is to blame, the conservatives say, the 3 or 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in critical postmodernism. Was it Foucault, Derrida, and there's probably 2 others, but which led us to the freedom to express our wickedness, which the right will suggest the left is. Your hedonism, your whimsical, wicked thoughts are now free to roam and free to explore your autogynephilia, trans men, trans women, autoandrophilia, gays, lesbians, rights, all that sort of thing. I referenced Gadsad before. He suggests that LGBTIQ plus is a survival strategy, a mating strategy, and I was repulsed. I was so repulsed that it's like a PTSD thing to block it out of my brain. So I feel like I'm not doing a good job in zipping up this suitcase, but basically the moral of what the idea I'm trying to express here is that academia has encouraged, supported this march to the left, liberal, progressive ideas. Camille Paglia, this academic, self-proclaimed, expressed, openly lesbian lady that talks faster than Ben Shapiro. She's not woke. She's like very fair in the left and the right. I've referenced that right as well there, left, right. She suggests that it's not a march through the institutions as the conservatives would like to suggest, which the Reds, the Soviets, the communists try and demoralize Western society. You start with the institutions and the media, then institutions as in academia, media, politics. We've got that whole idea. And we've got these ideas where, the Chinese plan 500 years into the future. How can we articulate, prove, know that the intention to destroy whatever destroying means? Because ultra conservative, stable society in the past had its issues, flaws. I've already referenced the children and women abuse, the minorities being excluded. So we've put the inclusion of those supposed problem groups onto ultra equality, righting the balance. We've got the whole DEI, economic, organizational, society structure. Before DEI was a thing, diversity, equity, inclusion, we had social, it still is a thing, but DEI is part of social in the environmental social governance, ESG, narrative, idea to save the world. I don't think it's a plan to gain power over conservatives. It's just a freedom that we've never known, and some of those freedoms are so free that maybe some of our hedonism and wicked thoughts are allowed to flourish because we're still stable. at the disgust of the right in not kicking and screaming too hard, because if they do kick and scream, the left will have them legally, socially, multimedia wise, and that's where the battle lines are. A status seek, I don't think it's organized. It's very disorganized. We are, I believe, at a point where we are trying to explore ourselves in what creates even more functional, stable societies. Yes, academia is on the forefront of left and progressive and liberal ideas, but maybe it was a good thing to get us out of the stuffy squareness. Do this. This is the only way to live power that they had. And just to wrap up with 42nd minute, the right articulates better with reason, but with that reason is code for stabilize, being moral, conservative, normal, historically. The left, using the right's words here, uppity, defensive, can't argue, emotional, all about feelings, women are gaining power, their emotions are powerful, that sort of thing. And then we're caught in this current age where, once again, to drive home the point, it's not planned. Not even grandiose. This is a humble opinion. It can't be planned because it looks too clumsy. If it is planned, the clumsiness of the plan suggests, if there is any plan, that we're still trying to understand ourselves. But I don't think there is a plan. We've always been at each other's throats, but historically, the powerful arm wrestler, fighter, biggest gun and club was usually the right, because they were, this is now David Murren ideas, lateral thinkers versus the left is more linear thinkers, using that as a model to understand how podcast people are going to have sound coming in and out. Apologies, podcast people. Linear is 70% of the population, apparently. David Murren suggests. What did he publish? The 7 stages of empire. And the other 30%, they create the institutions, but they can't hold on to them. They're less conscientious. That doesn't make sense, actually, but that's what David Murren believes. And then those 30% that created this stable society get flushed out. But here's a bit of a challenge. We're still relatively safe, secure, stable, historically speaking, even though the right has had its day, quotes, we're using air quotes, podcast people. Maybe the right is deserved to be challenged with their historic ideas. But maybe let's not get too wicked in our thoughts and be all hedonistic like the right suggests the left is. And the reason why the left and the right will talk past and over each other is their incentives. Oh, what a lovely summation of Kinitrology episode. Their incentives are different. Their personality proclivities are different. And that is the new battleground. The battleground of liberal and conservative takes on society. Oh, did I repack this suitcase well? Better than many others. Most others, I don't know. that was the attempt for Kinitrology. Thanks for listening. Until the next time, maybe I'll get 3.2 listeners instead of 1.9. Oh, what a concept. Right, until the next time, eyeing out both of the red buttons to stop, and bye-bye.